Hi everyone, my name is Omar. Welcome to my channel for the first time. If you're a foodie planning a trip to Japan, you've probably already heard about the best ramen restaurant in Tokyo, Tomita, that was featured on the Netflix documentary Ramen Heads, as well as the two restaurants that have won a Michelin star for their ramen dishes, Tsuta and Nakiryu. In this video, I will talk about how to get a seat in those restaurants, whether it's worth it, what it entails, and what the restaurant and the food is like. Now, before I start, I want to say that I've been to all three of these restaurants multiple times, and they're all amazing and delicious and unique in their own way. It's not a ramen that you will find anywhere else. So they're definitely worth the trip, but I don't think they fit every palate. And I also think that going to these restaurants in the middle of a very busy trip to Tokyo requires planning, and that you should think carefully whether you can fit it in your schedule or not, and whether it's worth it to you. So in this video, I'll break down all three, and you can decide for yourself. So let's start with Tomita, the one that's considered the best in Tokyo. The original restaurant is at Matsudo-Chiba prefecture, and it's about an hour away from Shibuya station. So it's already a challenge getting there in the first place. Now, it's famous for its tsukemen ramen, which is deep style ramen. It means that you get the noodles and the broth separately, and the broth is super thick. So because you dip the noodles in the broth and then you eat it. So the broth is really, really thick. And the reason why I'm stressing that is because in Tomita, the broth is based on pork bones and sardines. And so because it's so thick, the sardine flavor is really prominent. It's really strong. And so if you have an issue with sardines, then think carefully before coming to this restaurant. I can tell you that even though I watched the documentaries, I heard about it, I saw other YouTubers going there, I read the comments, I went there and it still took me by surprise. And the first bite, I was like, I don't know if I can finish this. But with every bite, it just got better and better. And the strong umami of the sardines was just so intense and so overwhelming and so different from everything I've ever tasted that I still think about that ramen dish, and I can still taste it now years later, and it stayed in my mind. I can relive that experience. I can relive that first bite because it was so unique and so strong. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so intense in flavor. And they do something really nice, that they put a bit of yuzu at the bottom of the bowl. And the more you eat, you start getting subtle, it's very subtle yuzu flavors. And also when you finish the noodles, they can add water to it, and then you can drink it as a soup. And then you really get that yuzu flavor. It's really interesting. Such a unique experience. I can't stress it enough. I've never tasted anything like it. The noodles that come with it are really thick. They're very bouncy. And again, they as well are very different from other noodles that I've seen in ramen. Tsukemen style ramen, the noodles tend to be a bit thicker because the sauce has to cling to them. But still, here they're very different. Extremely good. The toppings you get with it are there's a different like meat platter, and there's a green onion, and you can get a half-boiled egg, and it all comes to the side, so you can decide what you want to eat out of it. They have another branch in Tokyo Station, and there used to be one in Narita Airport that's currently closed but might reopen. It tastes similar, but it's not exactly the same as the main restaurant. So take it as you will. And now let's talk about how you get a table. You basically have to get there really early in the morning, and then you get a ticket with a time stamp. It will say like 12:30 p.m. and then you have to return at 12:30. Don't be early, but don't be late. And at 12:30 you'll be seated, and you'll get to eat, and that's that. The cost is around 1,500 yen, and the toppings are around 850 yen. So it's not out of place for expensive ramen. And just ask yourself if strong sardine flavor is something you can handle, and whether you can spend the time to wait 5 hours for ramen. The issue is there's not a lot to do in that area. not a lot of sightseeing to do, so it's really committing your entire morning for a ramen dish. So decide for yourself whether it's something that you can add to your schedule or not. Now, let's talk about Tsuta. Tsuta is the first restaurant to get a Michelin star for a ramen dish. The restaurant used to be located near Sugamo Station, but it's since moved and it's now near Yoyogi Park, which means near Shibuya, near Harajuku. So definitely, if you're planning on going, there's a lot of stuff to do around that area. And Tsuta is famous. Their famous ramen dish is either shoyu, which is soy sauce based, or seo, which is salt based. It comes with 2 kinds of meat toppings: wonton, green onions, bamboo shoots. You can add a half-boiled egg. Despite the full name has the word soba in it, despite it, the noodles are wheat-based noodles, very thin. That's my favorite kind of noodle for ramen. And what makes their ramen extra special is that the broth is very clear. It's very light. We're not talking about strong flavors, unlike Tomita, which was very punch you in the face. This is very subtle, very soft, but they add additional truffle oil. So if you don't like truffle, don't like. It's not for you. But if you do like, that might be interesting for you to try. Like Tomita, in order to get a seat at the restaurant, you have to get up early, go to the restaurant, you get a ticket with the timestamp, and then you also give them 1,000 yen as a deposit. When you return to the restaurant, you get that money back, and then you can order your dish with it. But you have to have 1,000 yen cash to give as a deposit. The meal itself is around 1,500 yen. So, like Tomita, it's pretty much the average price for an higher-end ramen bowl. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about Nakiryu. Nakiryu is the second restaurant to get a Michelin star for a ramen dish. It's near Otsuka Station, and their ramen has a Chinese twist. It's very reminiscent in taste to dantan noodles. You can again choose whether shio or shoyu ramen, and the broth itself is pork-based. It also has anise flavor in the chili oil. There's grilled pork, wonton. It's a tad on the spicy side. It's absolutely delicious. Out of the 3 ramens that I've named in this video, it's my favorite. I love that it has a bit of a spicy kick. Also, the broth is very thick, very luxurious. So I really like it. Again, thin noodles. And the price is around 1,000 yen. And in order to get a seat in the restaurant, all you gotta do is wait in line for 2-3 hours. You just get there and you wait. There's nothing to it. So again, all these 3 restaurants are amazing and unique, and they all offer something very different. But it's not easy to fit them into a normal touristy first time in Tokyo trip. So if you are a first time in Tokyo traveler, consider carefully whether you can add it to your schedule, whether it's worth it to you to add it. And out of the 3, I think the easiest to add to a first time in Tokyo schedule is Tsuta, because you can get there early, get a ticket, and then walk around until your time. And then there's a lot to see. You can walk around Harajuku, you can walk around Yoyogi Park, you can go to Meiji Temple, you can go to Shibuya. There's a lot to see around that area. So it's a lot easier to fit it into your schedule and not feel like you wasted time waiting for your time at the restaurant. If you want something that's close, but not, if you decide like that you can't fit it into your schedule, but you still want to get the flavors and understand somewhat what it tastes like, then 7-Eleven has instant noodles of Nakiryu and Tsuta, and they're not that far off. It's not the same, obviously. The dried meat, the flavors are not exactly the same, but to get an idea of just how different these 2 dishes are, there is an instant noodle version in 7-Eleven, and Tomita also has an instant noodle version. It's not always available, so you have to check if it is. But yeah, so those are options. Or you can go to the one in Tokyo Station and try it there. Again, it's not the same as going to the main restaurant, but it's close enough if you can't find the time. So comment below. What do you think? Which restaurant would you go? Did you go to any of them? And what was your experience like? If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment what other videos you want. If you're planning a trip to Japan, check out the Patreon. There might be something there that will help you personalize your trip. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.